Sup guys, Hiking here bringing you some new news regarding Resident Evil 9. So, yeah. The Game Awards came, they went, we got nothing regarding a new Resident Evil game. Capcom did confirm though that we're getting a new game for the Omashu series. And they even bringing back the original Resident Evil 2 and Devil May Cry 1 director Hideki Kayami to do the sequel for Okami. So we got two Capcom games pretty much confirmed. Old Capcom games as well that are making a return. Which gives me the hope that we will eventually get a Dino Crisis remake. So, it's happening, it's happening. If you guys have been paying attention, it's definitely happening. We had that survey early this year where, you know, Dino Crisis was, like, popular. It won, I think it won, like, the survey pool for, like, the game that, you know, fans want to see a remake of. Then they released on PSN for premium users. People complained, you know, about it being only premium. So, Capcom, like, made it available for everyone, so now everyone can play it. So yeah, they're listening, even if it's slow. Keep in mind, Omashu, for example, was actually originally leaked in the Capcom hack back in like 2020. So for those of you who remember that, it was clearly obvious they were working on a Onimushu game, and it took 4 years for it to be revealed. So you kind of have to wonder, like, what are the games they have in the pipeline? Like Okami 2, for example. No one knew about that. I don't think that was in the leak. So that seems to be something recent. But yeah, it means that we are going to be getting a revival of certain franchises. So yeah, that's good. That's good news. But on the bad news, we didn't get anything RE related. And now we're hearing some more stuff that RE9 might have been delayed, but I'm going to go through everything regarding Resident Evil 9. First, I'm going to do a quick update regarding the some leaks from Lotus Fix. So I'm going to read those first, and then I'm going to move on to the stuff regarding you know, the aftermath of the Game Awards and what's going on with RE9 eternally. So yeah, before I begin, remember to like and subscribe, guys, and let's do this. So Lotus Fix made an update regarding the whole Alex Wesker thing, because I think we asked him, like, he previously said that there was a room he couldn't enter, and he was going to ask his friends who also played the demo about it, you know, the ones who did complete it and did get access to the Easter egg or whatever, to give us an update on that. So yeah, he gave us an update a few weeks ago. Update about room P3. My colleague confirmed that when he opened the room, he came across a small office where it was possible to grab some ammunition from a shelf. When approaching the table, it is possible to inspect a book, The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. And on the back, there is a lipstick mark like a kiss that when examined has a description like a strong, intense red lipstick, still looks fresh. Well, I don't exactly know how this is related to Revelations 2 because I'm not the biggest fan of this game, but according to the post-test questionnaire, the P3 room was directly related to a reference to this game and the only interactive item he saw was this book. Thank you for your patience. So yeah, interesting info there. Moving on. So for those of you who don't know, Metamorphosis by Kafka was a big, heavy theme throughout Revelations 2. And as this newser points out, at the end of Revelations 2, Natalia is reading The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. And Alex Wesker quotes Kafka throughout the game. There are also a number of Kafka drawings throughout the game for the player to find. So Kafka would be a direct reference to Alex Wesker as well as her and Natalia's journey in Revelations 2. Also, it's interesting to note that Alex was a deep shade of red lipstick. Yeah, which if you remember, she did have. I think she did have red lipstick in her normal appearance in Revelations 2. And of course, now he replied back, I hope they explore Alex very well in this game. She has potential. This will be her first appearance in a main series game, right? Sounds exciting. Yes, it would be her first appearance in a mainline game, but she would have the appearance of Natalia. So there you have it. That was the information that Lotus Fix provided. And if this is legit, if this is real, then it does sound like Alex Wesker is going to be a big part of Resident Evil 9. If these leaks are in fact true, which means that we have potentially a Jill and Leon campaign with Alex Wesker as one of the main villains, or possibly, potentially, the main villain, which would help explain why Barry would be involved in the plot, if it's related to Natalia, of course, because if Alex Wesker's in it, then Natalia's in it, because Alex Wesker is possessing Natalia's body and mind. So yeah, hopefully this checks out, but still nothing really confirming if this is 100%. This is all a grain of salt. Remember, guys, take this with a grain of salt. Anyway, moving on. Alright, so moving on to the Resident Evil 9 stuff regarding, post-game awards. We got a William R. Aguilai, sorry if I'm saying that name wrong, on Twitter, who's apparently somewhat of a decent, reliable leaker. He's gotten some things wrong, he's gotten some things right, apparently, and he's shared some info regarding our, future RE games. So we're going to be taking a look at that and reading this and what he has to say, and figuring out if this is legit or not. So yeah, again, remember to take this with a grain of salt. There are several different Resident Evil games in development. Usually, Resident Evil games are announced at PlayStation shows. Some of the games have been in development for a decent amount of time, and since it's also a classic IP going back to the PS1, it also made sense to either reveal Resident Evil 0/1 or 9 in December for PlayStation's 30th anniversary. Those Resident Evil games are still in development. I was just wrong about when they will be revealed. So this is interesting. This guy is saying that there's multiple games in development. Dust Golem himself, previously has said that there's 5, at least that he knows of, in development, which includes RE9, RE0, and Code Veronica. He said that RE1 and RE5 remakes are not being worked on, and Andy Robinson and IGN both collaborated and confirmed that yes, in fact, Resident Evil 0 and Code Veronica remakes are in fact being made. This guy, however, is saying that, it's Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil 1 and 9, not Code Veronica. So, bit of a mix-up there, or maybe this guy knows something the other guys didn't know. Again, take with a grain of salt. So I ended up replying to him and asking him, hello there, did you just say, yeah, because this was so surprising. I didn't hear anything about a Resident Evil 1 remake being in development. So I asked him about this. And I, pretty much like I said, I thought RE9, 0, and Code Veronica remakes were only in development. And he replied, as far as I understand, what was conveyed to me is that it is an RE0 remake, but they are combining RE0 and RE1 into one game, maybe by having the story in RE1 be a DLC for RE0, so it would be an RE0 to RE1 remake, maybe? So, yeah. Moving on, I again replied, interesting, Don't think people would like that if RE1 was simply DLC. I don't think anyone would like that. I mean, if you're going to remake RE1 again, surely it would be a full-on game, because it's not a short game. Let me continue. If anything, RE1 should get an RE Engine remake, and RE0 should be made as DLC for RE1 separate way style. Any info when potentially we could get news on RE1. So he didn't answer that last part, but he did say it's the same thing. It'll be a full game. RE3 was supposed to be it will be a full game. RE3 was supposed to be an RE2 DLC. Resident Evil games are short, even with the remakes adding some things. So this right here for me feels like BS. Okay, it feels like BS because to say that, RE games are short is kind of an understatement. They're not really, because the original RE games have a lot of replay value to them. RE1 has 2 campaigns, yes? And even though they're sort of similar, there's still some differences. And it's the only RE game that has 8 endings in total. Okay? And then you got Resident Evil 2, which again is 2 storylines, but 4 campaigns. Right, sort of caught between Leon A, Claire B, Claire A, and Leon B. And that, again, 2 endings, if you will. Plus the 4th survivor of Hank. And then Resident Evil 3 had multiple different scenarios and interpretations in terms of things happening and how you could switch around and change things, and the puzzles would change every time you replayed the game from loading up the previous, the new save and that, for example. So this just kind of feels BS to me. The whole idea of, and this part here as well, RE3 was supposed to be an RE2 DLC. We don't know. It was never confirmed if RE3 Remake was a DLC. It certainly felt like DLC. That's the problem with the RE3 Remake. It feels like a DLC to RE2. It doesn't feel like a full-on game. Compare that to, say, Separate Ways, for example, which, yes, it is a DLC, but it still feels like its own long, decent length game, you know, which is crazy when you think about it. It's one of the best DLCs that Capcom, in my opinion, have made, but for a Resident Evil game. But for him to say, oh, it was originally a it's kind of weird, unless he's trying to say that the original RE3 was DLC for RE2, which makes no sense because DLC back then didn't exist. The idea of combining RE0 and RE1 is something that I even suggested that Capcom should consider possibly, you know, taking both of these games and maybe just combining the stories and giving us this one big epic story with RE0 and RE1 combined. But RE1 being a DLC doesn't make a lot of sense to me, unless the idea with Capcom is there already is a remake. There's no point doing another remake. You might as well just make a very quick version of the events of that game. But again, that's the problem. RE1 is 2 campaigns. You're playing as Jill and you're playing as Chris. You've got Rebecca in one campaign, you've got Barry in the other. And you've got 4 different endings depending on how you play that game for each of those campaigns. So it's a pretty long game. You can't sit there and go, oh yeah, it's you know, these games are, what is it? Resident Evil games are short even with the remakes adding some things. Yeah, the remakes added things, but they also took away things. So it's a bit unfair to say, oh yeah, these games are short or not. It's like, that makes no sense to me. So this guy, at the moment, at least what he's saying here, for me sounds BS. I'm not believing this crap. I'm not. I refuse to believe it because it makes no sense. Especially when you take into account, give me a sec. And it's already going cold, damn it. When you take into account that the RE4 director himself, in an interview after RE4 release, said he wants to do an RE1 remake. You wouldn't be saying that if there already is an RE1 remake in development. Do you know what I mean? In the RE Engine remake in development. Why say, unless it is, and he's actually been working on that as well. So I don't know. It's possible, but I don't know. This feels off. It feels off because this is the only guy so far saying, oh yeah, RE1 remake is happening as a DLC, when we have 3 other people, Dust Gollum, Andy Robinson at IGN, saying, no, it's called Veronica and RE0. There is no RE1 or RE5 remake being made at the moment. So this feels off. Anyway, take this with a grain of salt, guys. I'm going to move on to Dust Gollum stuff now, which is, it's a bit more detailed, and honestly, it makes a bit more sense. So we're going to discuss that in a second. Again, remember to like and subscribe. Alright, so moving on to Dust Gollum stuff now, and he goes into a bit of detail regarding the delay for RE9 and why that could have potentially happened. And yeah, honestly, reading about it, I've been saying it myself. I said it myself in a previous video, I think, where I pretty much said that there's a very high chance that this game is actually not going to be revealed at the Game Awards, and that we are probably going to get it for a release in 2026 for the 30th anniversary. I wanted to be wrong, I really did, but it seems that might be the case. It might be a case that Capcom wants to, you know, have this game revealed next year for a release in 2026, but that might not actually be the case either. So we're going to read this and try and figure out what's going on here. So, this is pure unadulterated speculation on my part, as I do not right now know when Capcom's planning to reveal Resident Evil things currently, but I've wondered if Capcom is perhaps waiting on the Switch successor to reveal the RE remake of Zero, or the remake of Zero, to see where it all lands ultimately. So this is interesting. He's saying that that, you know, the Switch 2, I guess, is gonna have RE0 on it, maybe as one of the main titles perhaps, which is a bit weird, and at the same time maybe not weird. You have to remember that the rumors originally were that we were supposed to get Revelations 3 or Outrage, or whatever it was going to be called, on the Switch with, you know, a game starring Rebecca Chambers, and that didn't pan out. And we also know that apparently Capcom did find an actress, an Asian actress apparently for a specific type of game, and a lot of rumors were that this was going to be for Rebecca because they were going for a very Asian look for Rebecca, apparently. And then there's been some other rumors I'm not too sure about regarding a certain guy, actor or whatever, working in the motion capture field, and they were working with monkeys or something. And a lot of people, and this is someone that works in the Capcom studios apparently, like for the motion capture stuff. Like this is someone who's done Capcom games before. And a lot of people were theorizing maybe this is for RE0 because the monkeys are the baboons or monkey enemies from the RE0 game. So maybe this was a hint that yes, they are working on RE0 at the moment, the remake of it. But yeah, I don't know what to think about this. It's a bit weird, but at the same time, it's like I have been sort of thinking, what if Capcom does sort of go back to Nintendo and tries to get an RE game released for that? And if it's not going to be Revelations 3, I think an RE0 remake would sort of make sense because that was originally released for a Nintendo console on the GameCube, and yeah, maybe history's going to repeat itself. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But moving on. I'm going to be going back a few pages. So someone asked him regarding, I think someone asked about being disappointed that we were only getting RE0, and the Dust Column again confirmed yet again, Code Veronica Remake's being worked on also. It's just further out, only been in dev for like 2 years at this point. So if this is legit, if it's been in development for 2 years, that means this game's into development in 2022. So, and usually these games take about 4 to 5 years to come out. So 2026, 2027 would be the ideal release date for this game, potentially. It really depends what Capcom's trying to do, how they're planning these out. It would be very, very interesting and confusing if this ends up being the game that they release for the 30th anniversary, but I don't think that would be the case. Moving on. I think this was regarding with the RE0 and why it would be on Nintendo. If they have a marketing deal with Nintendo, again, speculation. That's speculation on his part. He's not confirming anything. This is speculation. And we can speculate. And we can speculate that that could be a thing that Capcom would do with Nintendo. It's not the first time they've done it. This is something they've done before in the past. So it could happen again. Moving on. And this is pretty much all to do with RE9 and why it's been delayed potentially and why we didn't see it. For RE9 talk, I'm not very surprised after learning it got delayed from a reveal last summer and an internal development delay that it didn't appear anywhere this year. While RE8 got delayed a small bit from its initial release window, this felt more like an RE2 level delay. Which RE2 was originally, remake by the way, was originally aiming for a January 2018 for the game's 20th anniversary release, but it needed some big reworkings, so it got delayed to January 2019. Capcom's pipeline has a lot going on anyways, so I can 100% see a scenario Capcom's had to figure out it through both the lens that they have a lot of other games coming out and RE9 needs more time to cook. It's a really ambitious game anyway, so if they think it needs time, then that's fine. But I do think Capcom is working out where to fit it in the next couple of years properly. And yeah, that's that basically. The fact he said figuring out where to fit it in the next couple of years, that makes it sound like this game is not coming out in 2026, which means it's not getting revealed next year, which means this game is far out. And you got to keep in consideration for 2026, they got the Omashu game coming out. Obviously, they'd probably want a bigger game that they can ensure would sell to come out around that time, which in my opinion could potentially be RE0, because we are going to be getting the Nintendo Switch 2 very soon. And if there is a marketing deal, again, speculation, RE0 would be the game to put on that console and review on that and have that be sort of a flagship title and then have it put over maybe the year after for all other consoles. Maybe they basically do what they did with Revelations 1 where it came out on the Nintendo 3DS and then a year or whatever later it came out on main consoles. So that could potentially happen. This could be the game we get for the 30th anniversary because it seems that RE9 is such a big game that Capcom wants to make sure that it's correct before they reveal it. But if this is sort of an RE2 situation, and it was supposed to be revealed this year and it's gotten delayed, then maybe it is a case that we are going to get a reveal next year and it is going to come out for 2026 for the 30th anniversary. Because if this is a big, huge game that, again, if you remember, Dusk early on back in 2018 or something, or I think it was 2021, I think right after RE8 came out or before RE8 came out, he said that RE9 would be one of the, like it's being planned to be like the big final numbered game that's going to star Chris, Leon, Gio and Claire. And if that game is ambitious, if, for example, say if RE9 is the Metal Gear Solid 4 of the Resident Evil franchise, and it is this big game of multiple characters returning, wouldn't you want it to be released on the 30th anniversary? Or maybe they reveal it on the 30th anniversary for a 2027 release. So we get RE0 in 2026, but we get the reveal for RE9 in 2026 for the 30th anniversary for release in 2027 instead. Maybe, I don't know. That's speculation on my part. I don't know what's going on. These guys clearly don't know what's going on either. Everything is speculation because everything has basically gone down below. It's like we have no idea what's going on with Capcom at the moment. We just know that they've delayed the game because they want to cook. They want to cook and make sure that this is the best game possible. Fair enough, understandable, but it is kind of annoying to go so many years without any info. And again, RE0 coming out next would make sense because apparently it is the game being made by the side team, which it also consists of the original RE0 producer or developers apparently. Not too sure about that. But that for me pretty much means that game would be fast-tracked. Like it wouldn't be a big, massive remake. It'd be similar to what they did with RE3 Remake and Separate Ways, but it would be better, okay? Because it's got some of the original team members working on it, so they won't undercook it like they did with RE3 Remake. They do a better job of it, but it would be the first game to come out. And then we get RE9, and then we get Code Veronica. Maybe, that's the plan. I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see. For now, we can only wait until we get a reveal. At this point, nothing is for certain. So if we're expecting RE9 reveal for next year, don't, because it sounds like it might not even happen. For now, it's a waiting game. And at this point, all I'm going to say is that's all we can do. Wait. Nothing's confirmed. There is no, oh, let's stay off play, it's going to reveal there. No. This is a case of, when it's revealed, it's revealed. And at this point, I think the best thing to do is to pretty much wait for that 30th anniversary and see if we get anything then. For now, it's a waiting game. Which is disappointing, yes, but hell, if it means we're going to get some great games, cool. Let's just try and survive till then, guys. Okay? Anyway, I hope you liked that video. As always, remember to like and subscribe, please. And I shall see you when I shall see you. Take care and